So, as you know, like I said, I'm going to share a lot about the Paleo AIP approach diet protocol. And one thing that I find fascinating is that I think that one of the little secrets of why it works and how it works, which I wrote down here from a great book, which I'll definitely link to the resources that I used to learn about it. But I love this, and I'm going to read it to you, and I'll go into some of the points and ideas that I want to share. But it says nutritional resources needed for immune regulation, gut health, hormone regulation, and tissue healing, while removing inflammatory stimuli from both diet and lifestyle, which is huge. And there's another phrase that I'm going to read, but first let me go into this. So immune regulation, that's fascinating because I think many of us think that we need to strengthen our immune system, and just sometimes we forget that it might be overactive. So it's not about getting it to work even higher or more or stronger or whatever. Sometimes it's about regulating and balancing our immune system. And it's fascinating to realize that maybe we need different things than people with other goals, which might be just to, if they have which we do have a weak immune system sometimes or most of the time, I don't know. It could be overactive but weak at the same time because of how overactive it's doing chronically. So I don't know. I could definitely talk about that for hours because I find it fascinating. But the immune regulation and the gut health, which of course we know they're so linked and related. But I think we forget about that sometimes, that we think it's only about taking out gluten and then we'll be okay. And we forget that we need to re-heal. I was gonna say, is that a word? We need to heal the gut. We need to heal that intestinal hyperpermeability, right? The leaky gut. Because that is actually in turn overstimulating the immune system. And all that is going to overstimulate the nervous system, and that's going to overstimulate every system in the body, all those things combined. So gut health is huge, of course. Hormone regulation, same thing. Our hormones are going to be so out of whack from celiac and autoimmune conditions. If we don't pay attention to the idea of bringing that back to balance as much as we can, as great as we can. We're not going to get it perfect, but it's such an important, because I always say the body knows what to do if we give it the right environment, if we give it the right conditions, if we give it the right building blocks. So it's not just about taking out gluten. We need to rebuild. We need to rebuild and heal. And the tissue healing, of course, I think I mentioned that. I don't need to go into that. But at the same time, I find it fascinating, like while removing inflammatory stimuli from both, this is fascinating, diet and lifestyle. Because she said too, this is from Sarah Ballantyne, 3 main factors are also sleep, stress, and an active lifestyle, which, and this is incredible, fascinating, they all 3 of them affect the microbiome. I remember there was a summit, I think last year or a couple years ago, about the microbiome, and it was incredible. It was fascinating. I learned so much about it. I already knew the importance of it. I already knew how it's connected to every system in the body. I already knew how it's connected to our health, overall health. But it was fascinating to go deeper and learn even more about it. And I don't think many of us realize how sleep is connected to our microbiome. Stress is related to a microbiome. And physical activity. Like, that kind of blows my mind in a way, that those 3 things affect the little guys in our intestines, like the bacteria in our intestines. Like, that kind of like wouldn't make sense, but it does make sense at the same time. Like, it's fascinating. So I think those are some of the reasons why the Paleo AIP diet is so effective. First of all, it's a very holistic approach. It's not just like, oh, just eat more of this, less of that, and that's it. It's eat more of these, less of that, still balance things, still make sure you're getting this, make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're balancing your stress and doing whatever you can to offset the negative effects of stress. Make sure you have an active lifestyle, not too much, not too little, and finding your approach within the parameters and guidelines of Paleo AIP. That's why I loved Chris Kresser's book and approach on the Paleo, I can't remember it now. It was kind of, I forget now, it's like a template or something within which you can create your own like program or whatever, right? So it's more flexible. It's not a rigid, specific approach for 100% of human beings who want to try this. So I think that's very helpful, very helpful. So I just wanted to stress those there. I'm gonna make another video on why and how it works so well, but I'm gonna keep moving through these topics so that you have that foundation, that base, and that understanding of like, okay, let me keep that in mind while I prepare my meals and while I kind of plan my lifestyle, plan my activities, plan my rest and all that stuff. So it's really important to keep that in mind. Really important. So sleep, stress, active lifestyle, and remember about the nutrients to give the body everything that it needs, and removing what's actually hindering our system. So really hope that helps. So much more coming. Stay tuned for that.